Crown Jewel Perth. Perth. I don't know who came up with that name of Perth. Interesting, making it after Earth, but Perth. Well, we got questions. I think that's the best title here, because let's make it very clear. It's not questioning, was it a good show or not? It was fine. It was alright for what it was. I will break it down. But the question's not about, did we get a good show here? This is about, what are we getting afterward when it comes to this? That's going for the next Raw, for the next SmackDown, and even if it affects NXT at all. Because I'm wondering, will anything affect NXT from what we have here? To be honest, I don't think so, but you don't know what they're going to show this Raw this Monday. I don't know what they're going to do with Perth for this Raw. But let's go to the first match, and that was Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns in a Aussie street fight. I know it's Australian, but I say Aussie. I'm saying Aussie. Aussie. I have to say it. This was doing two things. One, it was giving Bronson Reed a gift. Make it very clear, he doesn't need this. Not saying that he's over. He still needs a lot of work. Bronson Reed's a great wrestler. There's no work. No work needed for that. He's a very good worker in the ring. We know this. He's also good on the mic. But what he is not is good with his character. Now admitting that he is not just an Australian, but a Samoan that could be a branch off of Roman Reigns. Of course, different Samoan families. It doesn't mean he's directly related to Roman Reigns, but he is Samoan. And the key here is giving him his own identity as a Samoan in WWE TV, because they tried this before and they failed. And that was mainly due to Vince, because if anybody remembers back in the mid 2010s when Samoa Joe showed up, they had the same scenario that another Samoan from a rival company and a rival family appeared. And you could say, well, Bronson's been part of NXT. Well, remember, he also went to TNA when it was Impact Wrestling. So you can easily say that. But with Samoa Joe, they didn't even try. Vince didn't even give two damn flips about Samoa Joe, even though he was one of the most polished people on the roster who was superior to Roman Reigns. He would not let Roman take an L or even do a proper storyline with Joe. Joe had a few, maybe one or two or even three matches with Roman. I think it was two, not counting if there was anything in a dark match or anything. And it definitely was no pay-per-view matches. It was done I think it was a Raw that they directly dealt with it. And then a SmackDown. Or was it, which brand were they on? I think it was Raw they were on. Both Joe and Roman Reigns. And I think it was at least one or two matches they had after that. And next to Joe getting injured, that was it. There was nothing after that. It was a joke. Here they did put effort into finally revealing that a Bronson Reed is Samoan. And they've been letting him have this feud with Roman. And the key of this is simple. They want to put another Samoan over. But he's not by blood of Roman, The Rock, the Usos, or anyone else. He's from another family, and they want to make him a rival. And this is what we got. This was a standard street fight. This was not about the street fight itself, even though it was alright. It wasn't perfect. But what did we get? We got Braun Breaker coming in and then cutting his abs right here. We get the Usos coming out, and we've been told, again, Roman said, don't come out. I got to do this myself. I don't want to show that I need help. Which is kind of strange, because all he ever did was need help. When it came to the last couple of years before the storyline was dropped. But in this situation where he's a good guy now, he needs to prove that he is the tribal chief. And he's carrying both Ula fathers from his dad and his uncle. And he did not win. Bronson was able to retain his wins. He has not been beaten. And then we get this moment between Roman and the Usos. And basically said, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? I didn't need you. I had to prove this myself. And he says, don't get it twisted. I love you. I love you both. I love you. But I don't want to see you until Christmas. But I love you. I don't want to see you until Christmas. He goes and walks away. And then we get Jay getting pissed off because Jay wanted to prove that he's in the corner from Roman. And he gets truly pissed. The person that isn't pissed is Jimmy. So Jimmy is the only one between the three of them that is sensible. And then that makes me think of something. I still believe that Jay will become tribal chief. That is what I believe. But the way they positioned Jimmy, and I do believe some of it was due to Naomi. I'm not saying that he used his wife to get himself a position. No. But due to the fact that Naomi was getting great traction when they finally gave her something to do and made sure they wrote it correctly, because remember, they had nothing for her. They decided because Jay was not there, they needed someone that Bianca needed to go up against. And they said, okay, we're going to give you this because Jay's not able to be there right now. And since they did, sorry, my throat's a little messed up. Weather here in New York has gotten really crazy. It's messing with my throat. But since she's gone away, we're going to give you this. Okay, do what you can with it. But not only did she manage to make it work, she ran with it and proved not only she underrated, that got her a damn title before she got pregnant and go off. So someone must have thought, if I'm thinking this, if they're not going to make Jay tribal chief, because I still do believe they will, eventually, what I'm thinking is that because of what's going on with Roman, what's going on with Jay, what's going on with Solo, for that matter, when he finally comes back along with his own family, the person that they may try to turn to that might become the new tribal chief might be Jimmy. Now, let's make this very clear. Is Jimmy better in the ring versus Jay? They can switch position because Jay can be good, but he's not great. But Jimmy can be very good, but sometimes he can be just like Jay. But I will say Jimmy at times can go better than Jay. Story-wise, Jimmy can talk better than Jay in certain situations. When you look at Jimmy, Jimmy is more of an analytical type of thinker, particularly when he does his promos. But Jay is someone who goes off of raw emotion. And the way he talks, you can tell it that he needs emotion to feed off of to make his segments work. Jimmy does not. Jimmy can talk and make it work. So you got one person that feeds on emotion and the other one can basically do a promo without emotion and with emotion, of course. So would they actually go there? It's a question. We got questions. And this is one. Would they go there with Jimmy eventually and make him tribal chief before Jay, which I do believe Jay eventually will be the final tribal chief before they drop the entire chief stuff. Because I truly believe they're going to do a full circle that Roman brought him in because he was tribal chief. But as Jimmy has been going through these phases where he was loyal, then he became disloyal and left, he came back again, then began to have an attitude. His other older brother and Jimmy becomes tribal chief but can't make it work. And then Roman swings it around back to center and eventually does what he originally said he was going to do. When he was ready, he became tribal chief. That's also a possibility. Don't know, but this is where we're going. Next match. Champion versus champion. Stephanie Vaquer versus a Tiffany Stratton. I'm going to be honest here. It was not about the match quality that made me go, okay, fine. Wasn't. Stephanie's a great wrestler. Tiffany did very well. Of course, she's only been in the business, 3 or 4 years? And Stephanie's been in the business way more than her, nearly 10 years, I think. I could be wrong about the years she's worked. She could work 10 years or more. I do not know. I don't remember how many years she's actually worked in the business. It can be easy up to 10 years, maybe more. But Stephanie is a good wrestler. But let's make this very clear. She's not in a position now because of her skill. I'm sorry. I am sorry, no. No. This is nothing against her. She's beginning to develop. But let's make it clear, when she was on NXT, she had no personality. None. She's a formulaic, clean-cut, vanilla babyface. There's no way to deny that. I'm about to say heel. Because that's what she is. She's a boring, run-of-the-mill babyface. It doesn't mean she's a bad babyface. It's just she's a standard one. She has no character. That's the truth. Only now are they trying to do something with Julia. As I've stated, when Julia came in, when Stephanie came in, and then when Zarya came in, Zarya has more personality than both of them because they let her work with Soruka. I'm not saying Zarya is a great promoist. I'm not saying that she's great with her character. Her character works with Soruka. That's why they paired her with her, to do something with her, but now her character has developed with Soruka. There's no way to deny that. It may not be a great character development, but it's there. But when you look at Stephanie, there's been no development for her character other than she is a great female wrestler, that she was great outside the company, and we're just going to give her titles. They gave her the North American title. Then when you see Julia might have been hurt, they gave her the NXT title. She still didn't get any development. Then she dropped both titles. She lost to both people that she needed to lose to, went to the main roster, won the title, and now they give her Crown Jewel, and she won that too. And this is all because of one thing. 3 letters. AAA. Sorry. If you think I'm wrong, tell me why. If it's about her, how great she was outside the ring, out of WWE ring, and when she did work for AAA, any other companies, I'm going to say this. That means jack shit. If you're going to tell me that the main reason she got what she got is because of all the hard work outside of WWE, it's jack shit. It means nothing. Initially, you come in with it, but what makes you mean something is what they write for you. And you as a wrestler must take what they have and make it mean something. What do we get from Stephanie? She is from Peru. She is a pro wrestler. She has a dad who inspired her to love pro wrestling. He's come to America. He has been there on and off. What else? What has she done? I'll give you a minute. I'm setting my watch. My damn watch stopped. Yeah, it did. Nothing. She has no personality. She's only there because of AAA. And that's wrong. They need to write for her to grow a personality. And she doesn't have one. No personality. Nothing. And that's not against her. It's not her fault. It's how they written for her. That's how they booked her. Just a formulaic, run-of-the-mill, clean-cut, vanilla babyface that has gone through everyone, just beat them, and that's it. But you're going to say, well, Kurt Angle did that. Kurt Angle had a story. A story that's from the outside that came in that is not about just his wrestling. It's about what he went through. Because he had been wrestling with a damn broken neck. And remember, they didn't just make him a babyface. They made him also a heel. And he also went back to being a babyface again. He had flipped more than a few times. And while he was booked as a babyface, he learned. He learned what it takes to make a babyface work. An annoying one at that. He wasn't just clean cut and didn't just do anything. He acted freaking annoying as a babyface in many cases. Particularly when he was working with Steve Austin when he had a broken neck and they couldn't even perform in the ring. What did they do? He's there with a damn ukulele and a cowboy hat acting like a pain in the ass. But that is what he did. And it was also revolving around his neck. Couldn't work. But he learned how to be a very, very destructive heel. He learned how to be a very, ridiculously annoying babyface or a dominating babyface. He was allowed to continue working as one hell of a great wrestler. But when you look at Stephanie, she doesn't have that. That's all she is, a vanilla babyface that they threw titles on her due to the fact of AAA, because she speaks Spanish. And as someone who's half Puerto Rican, who doesn't speak Spanish, who wants Spanish wrestlers to mean something, kind of makes it like they just got rid of Andrade Elio. And I'm like, weren't they supposed to book this man and make him mean something, and they didn't? And it's not because he can't speak English, because he's been working on speaking English. In fact, his English is probably better than hers. But in the end, this is what we got. Moving on to the next match, which means something. The last match of Australia for John Cena, going against AJ Styles. Now, here's where it goes very interesting. AJ, which they've now stated after the match is over, he only has 1 year left after next year. After next year starts in 2026, that's his last year. He's not wrestling anymore. Now, will he stay with the company and be in the back, maybe being a producer, maybe a trainer? Maybe. But next year's his last year, like John's year is this year. So he was willing to put in the effort and make that match look as great as it can be. And let's make it very clear, and I'm sure not everyone's going to be happy about this. When you look at John's performance in the ring, he not only did his normal work, he also decided, you know what, this is the last time I'm going to be doing this. I got 4 more shows left before I leave for December. I'm just going to go all out, and I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. I don't care if people think this is bullshit. Because John decided to pull every move of every opponent he's ever gone against out in this match. He did basically Undertaker's move at the end next to his own move. He did Sheamus. He did RKO. He did every move that he thought could be useful in this match against AJ Styles. And he used multiple wrestlers' moves that he's gone up against over the years. Now, I'm not sure everyone is going to agree with this, because they're going to say he got nothing left. This is what happens with John Cena. He's literally got nothing. Nothing. That's why he had to use other moves from other wrestlers. When do wrestlers not use other wrestlers' moves? This is a big question for you. When do wrestlers not use other wrestlers' moves? Every move that's ever been used in pro wrestling is a rehashing of someone else's move with a little bit of flair, or maybe a little bit of a twist on it. In this situation, John Cena is doing straight up copies of almost all the moves that he did. That's what he did against AJ Styles. The crowd went crazy for it. And I'm going to tell you this, knowing this is the fifth match he's got, and the fifth, this is the 5th and final time we will see John. If he was still working full time and he just came to Perth to do this, I would say this bullshit is boring, because he's got nothing else to work with. But this was the 5th final match. Now, he's got one more match, 4th final match. If he's copying other moves, okay. Because there's only 4 more times we're actually going to see him on TV, and then he's done. I doubt he'll come back for one more match after that. He is done. So seeing that he's going to be seen 4 more times after this, and he may do this again, where he's going to be using other people's moves, maybe with the same people that he got the moves from, or other people he wants to try and put over, it's all right. We only got now 4 more appearances of him. And if he chooses to come out in a chicken suit and wrestle like the gobbler, fine. If he does all that, fine. It's because we only got 4 more times before he fully retires. And if he does come back for one more match, I doubt it's going to be literally next year of 2026 or 2027, maybe 2030, who knows. Moving on. Io Sky and Rhea versus the Kabuki Warriors. Big question. What now? It was a good match. It was, well, basically it was a standard match, but it was good. Io was able to pin Kairi, who basically was willing to take a bullet for Asuka. Here's the thing. Where does the story need to go? This is going to be the big question. Where does it go? The best and most understanding... I want to give it to you like this. The only thing that makes the best sense. Kairi joins Io and Rhea, and that's it. She joins them, and Asuka's on her own. 100% again, and she just acts very bitter because she lost Io, her control over her. She lost Kairi, her control over her, and then she's going to go out, probably go up against all three of them and get her ass whipped against all of them, and maybe we'll see the progression of Asuka going into true madness because she just can't win anymore. That's one possibility. A second one, maybe the reason we're getting this is that we're getting another Japanese wrestler coming onto the scene. Now, you could say, well, maybe it could be Julia. That's a possibility. That is a possibility. Julia could be the one that would join Asuka against pretty much Kairi and Io. But then I'm thinking, that's very, very, very formulaic. Because then you're going to have to get rid of Kiana James. That would be the only way this is going to work. Not Kiana, Kayan. And I'm like, would they go there? Would they use Asuka to try and get Julia from the current handle that she has, and Julia and Asuka work together to try and destroy Kairi and Io? I don't know. There is still the possibility another Japanese wrestler will come in and will work with Asuka. That's also a possibility, but we won't know until they start building it. Next, and the final thing to do. Perth, Australia. Crown Jewel. The other Crown Jewel Championship match. Cody versus Seth. You saw beforehand that the Oracle made it very clear to the disciples of a Seth Rollins. If he calls for you, don't come out. And they said, what happened if you lose? And that was Braun. He says, well, you already know what that means. I don't need to tell you, you already know it. But they must find out who is the best between the two. Because, honestly, Cody's beaten him twice. I think twice or three times. And now with this match, he had to be decided, because if he did not make it work, if he did not win, it could be a third, or I think it's the third time he will lose. Or was it a fourth? Third or fourth time he lose. But here's the thing. Opening in the match, I liked it. Because you saw the emotion that Seth was trying to relay. That all these matches they've had together, I think it's at least three, this would have been a fourth. He's always been beaten. Every single time. And that pissed him off that he can't get it done. And you see the emotion coming off him. He's getting pissed. He's throwing things around. Psychology. Is it great psychology? No. It's one-on-one psychology. Show how frustrated you are to the fans. You don't need to just run back in and just hammer at the guy. Sometimes you need to come outside and just use psychology. Show that you cannot get it done and you're frustrated. And I did enjoy it. Seeing that Cody played into it, said, come on, take your time. The only thing Cody didn't do was just lay on the ropes and go like this and say, he didn't do it. The match itself was fine. In the end, Seth did finally win clean. He is now the Crown Jewel champion, and he has his own ring, which is here, or like you get what I'm saying. Just joking. But let me give it to you like this. Seth wins, does a good speech, saying that he is the best, and this is about him bringing the next phase of wrestling into the future. As a visionary, as a revolutionary, as Seth freaking Rollins, as the crowd was screaming it. But what do we really get going into Monday Night Raw at Perth going forward? That's the question. What are they going to do now that Division 1, you got Braun winning. Now you got Seth winning. What does this really mean? I don't know. And here's the thing. If he had had his wife there, because she didn't come out, the thing here is this. If his wife had came out, if Becky Lynch came out, that would mean something. Because then the power couple, along with the disciples and the Oracle, would be going forward to Monday Night Raw. But we didn't get that. And in fact, what did we get when it came to Becky Lynch dealing with AJ? Nothing. At least not yet. Because AJ has not been seen since WrestlePalooza. We have not seen her. Who did we see in place of AJ? Maxine Dupree dealing with her. So if the Division's supposed to go forward for the men, that means the Division must go forward with the women. And we didn't get that from her. We didn't see a Becky, unless I missed it, which is a possibility. I was kind of rushing through the last part because I had to go to the store earlier. So I actually stopped watching the show to go to the store because in New York it's going to start raining. It's actually drizzling pretty strong until it probably stopped right now. But there's supposed to be a near Category 1 storm that's going to be hitting the area by tomorrow. And it's nothing really serious, but everyone is rushing to go to the stores to get stuff. And I didn't want to wait until really late to do it because I would be in crowds and I don't do well with crowds. I get nervous. So I wanted to go early in the morning. And when I came back, found out what's going on, I might have missed a segment. I'll probably go back and check, and maybe I'll leave a comment here saying I saw Becky, which I didn't see her. But the point here is this. What do we get going forward for Division? Because, and this is where it comes to, guys, those who love WWE in its new form, try to defend this. Where are the new stars? Yeah, Braun Breaker. He's a new star. Bronson Reed is not a new star. He's been around for a few years. He got released, then he came back. Braun is a new star. But where are the others? They've been focusing only on the core people that they think can make money. Roman Reigns. Yeah, now Braun Breaker, he's involved with Division, but Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Johnny Cody Rhodes, the Usos. No one brand new. And worse yet, no one brand new that they can start building stories around. Because Io's been on the roster for quite a while now. So has Asuka, so has Kairi. Along with Rhea, who is mommy. Mommy is over than any woman on the damn roster. Even more than Charlotte Flair, even though people love Charlotte. Charlotte is not as over as Mommy is. I'm sorry. She's more over than any woman on the damn roster. But who else? You're supposed to be building the future. Roxanne Perez is not even close to being ready, even though she's being developed in the Judgment Day. Dominic, he's been on the roster for years. He's only now getting to do stuff in AAA that is now being recognized. So, where are the new stars to give? Here, everyone I mentioned is here. Even Dominic, even, you could say even Dominic is there, even Raquel Rodriguez, even Roxanne Perez. All the women are here that are currently here. The men are all here, the ones that have already been mentioned. Who's here? Who's here? Who's here? There must be layers. So when time comes and you need to let go of the storyline or someone gets hurt, you can bring them up. You got here for both. Nothing's there. And that's the problem with WWE right now. They're only focusing on the people here to make this. As I've always stated over again in nauseam. You can make pro wrestling, which means you're passionate about it, you love it, you're producing it, and then you're using pro wrestling to make money. And that's where we're at. And I'm telling you right now, as it stands, We have only people here. There's nothing here. Everyone is here. Everyone is here. And they should at least be here. Some of them. And there isn't. This is what happened after the Bloodline storyline ended and the Judgment Day. When they ended, they had no real stories to fill in the gaps that just were removed. Solo's faction did not replace the Bloodline. Solo's faction did not replace the Judgment Day's bloodline. Storyline. Well, it's so hard to get people to understand that when you look at how the structure of a wrestling promotion is, there must be layers to it to make sure that if there's accidents or injuries, you can fill in the gaps. Even if it's not done correctly, at least there will be people developed enough that are bad guys or good guys that can go into those places when you need them. And we got none of that. None of it. And I'm like, a lot of questions. And it makes sense to say that. Because we only have a few more months before the end of the year. And now that John Cena's retiring, that story is going away. We'll get a new story to replace John with AJ Styles because next year will be his last year. So he can go and do something similar. But what do we have other than that? The Bloodline still, which is not even a real bloodline. Solo's group, which is supposed to be sprung off the Bloodline. Judgment Day. Judgment Day doesn't really feel important enough to be a strong storyline. The women's division has Stephanie Vakir on it and Tiffany Stratton. At least Tiffany does have some level of development. But when we look at Stephanie, there is none. Stephanie isn't a character. She's just a babyface. That's all she is. I just think that there's not a lot here. But this is me. Give me a comment below. Peace.